taking your marathon training to the next level. When you are no longer a beginner and want to train for a 10-kilometer race or even longer, there are several training plans available on the internet. However, you are better off following the guidance of someone more experienced, preferably a professional coach. While there is no strict rule or criterion of minimum fitness for someone training for their first ever marathon or even a half marathon, it helps if one is able to run without much trouble for about 20% of that target distance in one stretch. Further, it is advisable to train for about 16 to 18 weeks for any such distance. Thus, using a gradual ramp-up of mileage of around 10% per week, if one is able to run, say, 5 or 10 kilometers at the start of one's training period, over 16 weeks, one will be able to reach about 80% of the race distance in training on one's long runs. This also assumes that one will begin to taper in one's training. Depending on the distance, a 2 or 3 weeks taper is usually for marathon distance before the race day in order to allow the legs to remain fresh for the race day. As discussed earlier, training especially for beginners is best done under the guidance of someone more experienced than the trainee. In Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad and the NCR region, there are clubs or groups of running enthusiasts. Bangalore, which has grown to become India's running capital, thanks in no small part to its parks as well as the occurrence of multiple races around the year, has multiple running groups as well as running coaches who train people for various events including the World 10K to the Bangalore Ultra. Mumbai, which is home to India's biggest marathon, also has quite a few running groups and coaches. Nike has running clubs in both Bangalore and Mumbai. Both run with the help of experienced coaches. The NCR is also home to a bunch of experienced runners, one of India's popular running groups as well as playing host to India's premier half-marathon event. For people who aren't in any of the above-mentioned cities, who are still enthusiastic about running, it is perhaps best to get in touch with the experienced runners or clubs or coaches in the above cities or train conservatively using training plans available on the internet. Staying motivated. Like most New Year's resolutions, running too is challenged by various conflicting pressures on any person's time. That's why it is best to train with a group or at least a partner. When the weather is not favorable, one can always run indoors on a treadmill or use an indoor cycle. One should remember why one started training in the first place. The impending joy of having completed one's first race should be enough motivation to persuade oneself when one is feeling lazy. Most runners swear by the value of training at least for 30 minutes a day and how it helps them improve their mental discipline. The biggest battles are fought within. Mentally preparing for a marathon is tougher than any physical test you'll encounter. Visualize yourself going past the finishing line. Stay focused and block out all negative thoughts. There is no emotional equivalent of the elation you feel when you get past that finishing line.